The email arrived at 3:47 a.m., encrypted, routed through 14 proxy servers across 3 continents. Destination: a senior engineer at a natural gas distribution facility in Pennsylvania. The message contained 3 words in Russian: "Proceed with Phase 3. FBI Counterintelligence had been watching this engineer for 19 months. What started as a routine background check had revealed something far more disturbing than anyone anticipated: a foreign intelligence network, operating across 23 states, 47 confirmed operatives, and a coordinated plan to cripple American critical infrastructure. The attack was scheduled for 11 days from that encrypted message. This is how the FBI uncovered a Russian espionage operation that had been building for over 6 years, and stopped it 72 hours before catastrophic sabotage would have left 12 million Americans without power, heat, or water in the middle of winter. The investigation began with a financial anomaly. In early 2019, FBI analysts monitoring foreign transaction patterns noticed something unusual. A series of wire transfers from shell companies in Cyprus were flowing to a nonprofit organization in Virginia. The nonprofit claimed to promote cultural exchange between American and Eastern European academic institutions. Tax records showed modest income, normal operations, nothing suspicious on the surface. But the money didn't match the mission. Over $4.2 million had moved through the organization in 18 months. The cultural programs they claimed to run would have cost a fraction of that amount. Where was the rest going? FBI financial crimes investigators began tracing the money. What they found changed the entire scope of the investigation. The nonprofit was a front, a sophisticated money laundering operation designed to fund a network of Russian intelligence operatives embedded across the United States. The money wasn't paying for cultural programs. It was paying for influence operations, recruitment of American assets, and, most alarmingly, reconnaissance of critical infrastructure targets. The first operative was identified in March 2019. A professor at a mid-sized university in Ohio, originally from Belarus, naturalized citizen since 2008, published researcher in electrical engineering, respected in academic circles. No criminal record, no obvious red flags. But surveillance revealed a troubling pattern. Every 6 weeks, the professor traveled to conferences across the country. Normal academic activity, except the conferences he attended were always within 50 miles of major power grid substations, water treatment facilities, or natural gas distribution hubs. He never visited these facilities officially, but cell phone tracking showed his device pinging near them, sometimes for hours, taking photographs, recording notes, building detailed assessments. The professor wasn't attending conferences to present research. He was conducting reconnaissance for a foreign intelligence service. FBI Counterintelligence placed him under 24-hour surveillance. They monitored his communications, tracked his contacts, built a network map of everyone he interacted with. Within 3 months, they had identified 12 additional operatives. Within a year, that number had grown to 47. The network was massive, coordinated, and far more dangerous than anyone initially understood. The operatives fell into 3 categories. Category 1: Intelligence officers, trained agents operating under diplomatic cover or false identities. These were the coordinators, receiving instructions from Moscow, distributing money and equipment, managing the network's compartmentalized cells. Category 2: Recruited assets, American citizens who had been compromised through financial incentives, ideological alignment, or blackmail. Engineers, government contractors, military veterans with security clearances, people with access to sensitive information and critical systems. Category 3. Influence agents. Academics, journalists, think tank fellows, and political consultants who shaped public opinion, spread disinformation, and worked to undermine American institutions from within. The network had been building for 6 years. 47 confirmed operatives across 23 states. An estimated $18 million in funding traced through 34 shell companies across 8 countries. Influence operations targeting American elections, policy debates, and social divisions. But the disinformation campaigns weren't the primary objective. They were cover. The real mission was sabotage. FBI analysts discovered the sabotage planning in late 2022. Encrypted communications intercepted through a court-authorized wiretap revealed detailed discussions about American infrastructure vulnerabilities, power grid weak points, water treatment system dependencies, natural gas pipeline choke points. The conversations weren't theoretical. They included specific facility names, security protocols, shift schedules, backup system locations. Someone inside these facilities was providing detailed operational intelligence. The FBI identified the insider in January 2023, a senior control systems engineer at a major natural gas distribution hub in Pennsylvania. The facility supplied heating fuel to residential and commercial customers across 6 states. During peak winter demand, it served approximately 12 million people. The engineer had worked there for 11 years. Excellent performance reviews. No disciplinary issues. Trusted with administrator-level access to the facility's computerized control systems. He had been recruited by Russian intelligence 4 years earlier. The approach had been gradual. A colleague at an industry conference, discussions about technical challenges, an offer to consult for a European energy company, paid generously in cryptocurrency. The consulting work seemed legitimate at first. Technical questions about system redundancies, hypothetical scenarios about equipment failures, academic discussions about infrastructure resilience. But the questions became more specific over time, more operational, more dangerous. By 2022, the engineer was providing detailed schematics, access credentials, and vulnerability assessments directly to Russian intelligence handlers. He didn't know the full scope of what he was enabling. He was about to find out. The intercepted Phase 3 message in November 2023 triggered an emergency escalation. FBI counterintelligence had been monitoring the network for years, building cases, gathering evidence, preparing for eventual prosecution. The standard approach was patient, methodical, designed to identify every node in the network before taking action. But Phase 3 changed everything. Decrypted communications revealed the operational plan. Coordinated cyberattacks would target control systems at 14 critical infrastructure facilities across 9 states. Natural gas distribution, electrical substations, water treatment plants. The attacks would be timed to coincide with a severe winter storm forecast to bring sub-zero temperatures across the Northeast and Midwest. The goal wasn't temporary disruption. It was catastrophic, sustained system failure during the most dangerous weather conditions of the year. Heating systems would shut down, pipes would freeze and burst, hospitals would lose power, emergency services would be overwhelmed. FBI analysts estimated potential casualties in the thousands, economic damage in the tens of billions, social disruption that could take months to recover from, and the attack was scheduled for 11 days away. The FBI faced an impossible decision. Taking down the network immediately would save lives but might allow some operatives to escape, destroying years of intelligence gathering and leaving portions of the network intact for future operations. Waiting risked catastrophic consequences if any element of the takedown failed. FBI leadership chose immediate action. Operation Frozen Shield was authorized within 24 hours of the Phase 3 intercept, the largest coordinated counterintelligence operation on American soil since the end of the Cold War. The operation would require simultaneous raids across 23 states, 47 targets, hundreds of FBI agents supported by Homeland Security, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, and local law enforcement partners. Everything had to happen at once. If any operative received warning, a missed check-in, an unusual silence, a news report of arrests elsewhere, they could trigger the cyberattacks early, flee the country, or destroy evidence that would be crucial for prosecution. The FBI had one chance to get it right. The operation launched at 5 a.m. Eastern Time on a Tuesday morning. Across 23 states, FBI tactical teams simultaneously executed arrest warrants. Homes, offices, hotels, safe houses. Every known location associated with the network was hit within a 90-second window. The Pennsylvania engineer was arrested at his home, still in his pajamas. His computer contained the access credentials for the natural gas facility's control systems, and a scheduled script designed to execute the cyber attack automatically in 72 hours, if not manually canceled. The attack was 3 days away from launching without any further human intervention. In Virginia, agents raided the nonprofit organization that had served as the network's financial hub. They seized servers containing records of every transaction, every operative payment, every communication with handlers overseas. In Ohio, the professor was arrested at his university office. His personal devices contained reconnaissance photographs of 34 critical infrastructure facilities across 11 states, annotated with vulnerability assessments and recommended attack vectors. In New York, California, Texas, and Florida, influence agents were taken into custody. Their communications revealed coordinated disinformation campaigns designed to amplify social divisions, undermine trust in American institutions, and create chaos that would compound the impact of the infrastructure attacks. By 7 a.m., 43 of the 47 identified operatives were in FBI custody. 3 had fled the country in the weeks before the operation, apparently sensing increased surveillance. Intelligence indicated they had returned to Russia. 1 operative was found dead in his apartment, apparent suicide. Investigators suspected he had been warned of the impending arrests and chose death over interrogation. The evidence seized during Operation Frozen Shield revealed the full scope of what had been prevented. The cyber attack scripts were designed to cause cascading failures across interconnected systems. Natural gas pressure would drop to dangerous levels, triggering automatic safety shutoffs. Without heating fuel, residential and commercial buildings across 6 states would begin losing heat within hours. The attack was timed for the coldest week of the year. Forecast temperatures were expected to reach -15 degrees Fahrenheit across much of the affected region. FBI analysts worked with infrastructure experts to model the potential impact. Within 24 hours of the attack, approximately 3.2 million households would lose heating capability. Hospitals and emergency services would be overwhelmed. Vulnerable populations, the elderly, the disabled, young children, would be at immediate risk. Within 72 hours, frozen pipes would begin bursting across the region. Water damage would compound the crisis. Roads would become impassable as emergency vehicles struggled to respond to cascading emergencies. Conservative estimates projected between 2,000 and 8,000 deaths from hypothermia, medical emergencies, and infrastructure collapse. Economic damage was estimated at $34 billion. Recovery would take months, and the attack was designed to look like a natural system failure. Deniable, untraceable, leaving Americans to blame their own infrastructure rather than a foreign adversary. The human cost of the network's activities extended beyond the planned sabotage. Influence operations had targeted American democratic institutions for years. Disinformation campaigns had amplified political divisions, spread false narratives, and undermined public trust in elections, media, and government. FBI analysis of seized communications revealed the scope of these operations. Over 340 social media accounts operated by network assets had reached an estimated 47 million Americans with coordinated messaging designed to inflame partisan tensions. The accounts posed as American citizens, veterans, teachers, concerned parents, while pushing narratives crafted in Moscow. The network had cultivated relationships with American politicians, journalists, and activists across the political spectrum. None of these contacts were aware they were interacting with foreign intelligence assets. They believed they were engaging with fellow Americans who shared their concerns. The manipulation was sophisticated, patient, and devastatingly effective. The prosecution phase of Operation Frozen Shield took 18 months. 41 defendants faced federal charges ranging from espionage to conspiracy to computer fraud. The engineer in Pennsylvania was charged with attempted sabotage of critical infrastructure, a charge carrying a potential life sentence. 32 defendants ultimately pleaded guilty to various charges. 9 went to trial. All 9 were convicted. Sentences ranged from 8 years to life in federal prison without possibility of parole. The 3 operatives who had fled to Russia were indicted in absentia. International arrest warrants were issued. They remain fugitives, believed to be under the protection of Russian intelligence services. The families of the convicted operatives faced their own reckonings. Some had no idea their loved ones were spies. Wives discovered their husbands had been living double lives for years. Children learned their parents had been working for a foreign government against the country they called home. Others had known and participated. 3 spouses were charged as co-conspirators. 2 adult children faced charges for helping conceal evidence or facilitate communications. The betrayal extended beyond national security. It shattered families, destroyed careers, left communities questioning how well they really knew the people living among them. The professor in Ohio had taught 4,200 students over his academic career. Many had considered him a mentor. Now they wondered if any of their interactions had been genuine, or if they had simply been useful contacts to a man serving a foreign master. The engineer in Pennsylvania had coached youth soccer for 7 years. Neighbors remembered him as friendly, reliable, always willing to help. Now his house sat empty, seized by the federal government, a constant reminder of the deception that had lived next door. The investigation also exposed systemic vulnerabilities that had allowed the network to operate undetected for years. Background check procedures were tightened for personnel with access to critical infrastructure systems. New monitoring protocols were implemented for financial transactions involving foreign entities and nonprofit organizations. The Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency launched a comprehensive review of control system security across the energy sector. Vulnerabilities identified through the investigation were addressed through mandatory upgrades and enhanced monitoring. Foreign agent registration requirements were strengthened, closing loopholes that had allowed influence operatives to avoid disclosure of their connections to foreign governments. But the broader implications of Operation Frozen Shield extended far beyond policy changes. The investigation revealed how a patient, well-funded adversary could embed itself deeply within American society, how trusted professionals, engineers, professors, consultants, could be recruited to serve foreign interests, how influence operations could poison public discourse while hiding behind the mask of authentic American voices. The network had operated for 6 years before it was detected. It had recruited 47 confirmed operatives. It had infiltrated critical infrastructure facilities serving 12 million Americans. And it came within 72 hours of executing an attack that could have killed thousands. The FBI agents who worked Operation Frozen Shield understood what they had prevented. Not an abstract threat, not a theoretical vulnerability. A coordinated attack on American civilians, designed to kill, timed to maximize suffering, planned by a foreign adversary willing to target innocent people to achieve geopolitical objectives. The 12 million Americans who kept their heat that winter never knew how close they came to catastrophe. The families who would have lost loved ones to hypothermia never knew their lives were saved by a financial anomaly noticed by an FBI analyst 5 years earlier. The communities that would have been devastated by frozen pipes, overwhelmed hospitals, and cascading infrastructure failures never knew they were targets. That's the nature of prevention. Success is invisible. The disasters that don't happen, the attacks that never occur, the lives saved by investigations that the public never sees. Operation Frozen Shield dismantled one network, but intelligence assessments indicate that similar operations continue. Foreign adversaries are constantly probing American vulnerabilities, recruiting assets, gathering intelligence, positioning for future operations that may never be detected until it's too late. The FBI's counterintelligence mission never ends, because the next network is already building, the next attack is already being planned, and somewhere, right now, an FBI analyst is noticing something that doesn't quite add up. A financial anomaly, an unusual travel pattern, a communication that seems slightly wrong. That's where the next investigation begins, and that's how the next catastrophe will be prevented. This is what the FBI does, every day. Whether you know it or not,